Welcome to another connection here on TKO8 Television. I'm Dennis King. My co-host Tabitha Odegaard couldn't be with us today. She's having to go to the doctor. I hope everything works out okay for that. But we do appreciate you joining us each week as we come into Studio B every Monday, and we have different organizations come in to talk about different things going on around our viewing area. And they're important that you know about all these different events, nonprofit organizations, and so on and so forth. Today, kind of unique, we're going to spend the time during the show, and we're going to talk about fire prevention. We have two gentlemen from the Harrison Fire Department with us, so we're going to talk about prevention, cause, etc. So it's a show devoted to something very important that in case of a fire, any type of fire, that you hopefully with these tips you'll know what to do, and also prevention is a big thing. Stay with us. Be back on Connection in just a moment.
The Harrison Fire Department is taking applications today. Come see us at Fire Station number 1 at City Hall, and we can show you how to be a Harrison firefighter.
You can make a difference.
You can make a difference.
Remember, you can make a difference.
Back on Connection here on TKO8 Television. We appreciate you joining us today. With us today, two gentlemen from the Harrison Fire Department. We have Clint Nichols and Daryl Pace, and we're going to talk about, well, fire prevention and just a lot of different things today. We do appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to come in, and we've been doing some promotions for you guys, some cute things, and we want to make sure that everybody's aware of what the Harrison Fire Department does. And you do so many more things than just put out fires, so we want to kind of touch on that. But thanks both for coming in. We appreciate it. We know you're busy all the time. So let's just kind of get in, and you guys just jump in, and we're just going to talk about this. Causes of fires. What are some of the main causes?
We always say the main cause of fire is people, unfortunately. Okay. People start a lot of fires, grease fires, a lot of kitchen fires. We have open burning in our community, with a burning permit. Right. By the way, if you do want to burn in the city of Harrison, burn natural products, we require that you call the Harrison Fire Department and get a burning permit. They don't cost a thing, but it shows you what you can and can't burn.
Well, that's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up. A lot of people may not realize that. Now, what if somebody didn't know and they burning some leaves in their backyard and somebody calls the fire department? Do you go out there? Do you talk to them? Is there a citation given to somebody?
Well, possibly there could be.
You could be, probably.
Usually what we do, if we get a call of somebody burning, we keep a list of who's got a burning permit that day. Okay. And we'll look at the address, and if they're not on the list, usually Assistant Chief Pace or myself will go out by and check, and we'll try to educate them first. If they're burning something they're not supposed to, we try to educate them on that. Right. If they continue to do it, obviously we can write them a citation. Sure. We fire code for that. I think it's $140 starting off. So. Okay. And obviously good common sense, regardless if you. I mean, I know we have burn bans a lot during the summer months. It gets so dry out there, and you don't issue burning permits during those times. I know, but even then, it's you got to kind of think about what you're doing out there, because it's easy to let a fire get out of hand. I know I've burned leaves in years and years gone by when I actually lived somewhere in the county area where you could. But they can get away from you real quick if the wind comes up. We tend to underestimate fire in this country. Yes. We watch some shows on TV, and you see people running through little wisps of smoke, and as we know, fire isn't really like that. And even an outside fire, like a leaf fire, something like that, can get away from you, and you're responsible for that fire. Yes. If you start a leaf fire and it burns your neighbor's house, you're responsible for that. So we don't want any of that to happen. We want people to be allowed to burn safely and properly. We encourage them to come down. You do have to come to the fire station. You can call us. Right. Give us a call, see if we're even burning that day, see if the weather will allow it. Come down, you get to read it, you can sign off, and that way we regulate it and make sure everybody stays safe.
Do you get a lot of people wanting burn? I mean,
there is a lot of people that want to do burning. We get several calls a day.
Do you?
people asking to burn, you know. And the new program with the list and everything, you know, it gives them exactly everything they can and can't burn. That way they got an idea. That way there's no questions, you know. So that way if there is a problem, we can go up there, you know, and like you said, if it's a ongoing deal, you know, we may have to write them a ticket.
Now, do you ask on when they fill out for a permit? What are you burning? Do you ask that?
It does that on the permit.
Oh, it does.
Yes.
Okay.
We do ask them that too, though, and that way it kind of gives us a jump to get into it.
Right.
You know, so well, what are you burning today? You know, they said, well, we're just going to burn limbs and leaves. You know. And then sometimes they say, well, we want to burn some trash and stuff. We'll say, now, this is what you can do right here. You know, you can't do that. We try to give them a heads up before they even read the deal, you know.
Our goal is not to write tickets. Our goal is to be safe.
Exactly.
Right.
We have the power to write tickets if we need to per Arkansas Fire Prevention Code. But I want to tell you something a lot of people in our area don't realize. You cannot burn trash in a barrel. That's not just the city of Harrison rule. That's anywhere in Arkansas.
Really?
You can only burn natural products. Yes, the EPA can actually come out and fine you, and that's a much stiffer fine than me and Daryl can give to you.
Wow.
So,
and we're one of the only few cities in Arkansas that really does open burning anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I wondered about
people
that.
are pretty lucky here in Harrison that they can still do that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So people out, even out in the counties, I know a lot of people out there, and you may be watching the show. That's a good point. If you've got a barrel out in your yard, the back of the yard, you can't burn trash in there. And a lot of people
can't burn plastics and all that.
Yeah,
If you want to burn limbs and stuff like that.
But I mean, household
You're right.
waste, trash.
Not allowed to do. A lot of people don't
Wow.
realize that. We grew up burning trash.
Yeah.
But actually, it's against the law.
I did not know that.
Yeah, there's been instances where the EPA has actually either been in the area or flew over and seen it and made contact with certain individuals and then give them a stiff fine for doing that stuff. You know?
The EPA has been on our area and checked a brush pile, took samples to make sure that there wasn't plastics and stuff on a gentleman that burned a brush pile. So yeah, a lot of people think, oh, they're not around. They're
That's a good
around.
point. That's a good point. Just in case you're out there and you want to do a little burning out in your backyard with a barrel, make sure you don't put that household chemicals and plastics and so forth in there because you could get in trouble. Okay, let's move along. I want to talk about let's talk about smoke alarms and carbon monoxide alarms. I know this is going into the season where people are converting over from air conditioning to heating units. You guys, why don't you touch on that a little bit? I don't care.
Well, first off, smoke detectors.
Okay.
I hate to say this, but we've gone from third to the second. Arkansas has the second highest fire death rate in America per capita. I think only Mississippi beats us right now. We were third. Unfortunately, we're going the wrong way. We're worst on that list, or getting worse on that list, I should say. So we encourage everyone to have a working smoke detector. If it's over 10 years old, get it out of there and put a brand new one up. Okay. Also, like you said, do a little maintenance on it. Take your vacuum cleaner and clean out the dust on it. There's two basic kinds of smoke detector. There's photoelectric and ionized. The ionized we've had around since the late 70s, early 80s. Photoelectric, they're not brand new, but they're newer. They're usually just a little bit more expensive. What the experts say is have one of each or buy a dual system. The ionized picks up fast-moving fires. Photoelectric picks up smoldering fires a little quicker. Okay. But the main thing is whatever you've got, have a working smoke detector. And for the kids, put it in their room. Kids sleep sounder than we do. Put it right over their bed if you need to. And they've got to self-rescue. They've got to get informed. Fire burns a lot faster than you think, and double every minute a house fire can. So you've got to have early warning, and you got to be able to get out. Also, what's important, make sure that your elderly relatives, a lot of people don't even think about smoke detectors. The kids that move out, we've got 20-somethings, the kids, they don't think about it. That's the last thing they're thinking about, smoke detector. Make sure they've got one. Smoke detectors make good Christmas gifts. Just remember that.
Well, and the thing about it is they've gotten, I don't know about the one you were talking about, the photoelectric. But the original smoke detectors, the price has gotten down. They're under $10, maybe even under $5. I don't know.
Yeah.
So you really, to be double sure you're covered, you could put 2 or 3. You should have more than one, actually, probably in your house.
More than one would be better. You know, you need more than one. Depends on your house size and stuff. You know, you got a single-story house, 2 or 3 downstairs, in the single story. If you got a 2-story house in a basement, then you're talking more too. Yes. You want some in them areas too. So.
Would you want to put a smoke detector in like close to your furnace? Is there a particular
where you
place?
Sleep.
Okay, where you sleep?
If you're going to try to decide what's your smoke detectors, most people die in house fires when they're sleeping. Okay.
Okay.
So where you sleep, in your hall, in the hall outside your bedroom, or in your bedrooms, is the best place to put them. But at least one on every level to notify. If you're upstairs, you want some notification that if you have fire downstairs. So where you're sleeping is the best place to put them.
What about carbon monoxide? I should say detectors. Is that something that a lot of people should?
Anymore today, it's a must. If you have any kind of gas appliances into your house, you need a carbon monoxide detector. I mean, it just, you don't know it's colorless, odorless. You can't smell it. You don't know it's there. So it's a great idea to have one. That way it alerts you to something, Even if it's a small amount and it alerts you, you need to get out of the house and call the proper authorities to come and check it out to make sure everything's all right. Because especially at night, if you're sleeping, it tends to make you sleep even more, and then you just never wake up from it, Wow. So it's a great idea to have one if you have any kind of gas appliances, anything in your house.
So any house that's, if you're all electric, obviously you don't.
Actually, fire code now, even on new construction, if you have an attached garage, they want you to have a carbon monoxide detector. But for sure, like Assistant Chief Pace said, for sure, if you've got gas appliances of any kind, you for sure need it.
Now, would one be enough? Does it depend on the house
I would
size?
have at least one where I was sleeping.
Okay.
That's usually they don't have to be as dispersed as much as smoke detectors. But yeah, have one in your sleeping area for sure. So.
What about people that, let's say I own a duplex out there, I own some apartments. Whose responsibility is it to put the fire smoke detectors?
By city ordinance,
okay.
The landlord is required to put smoke detectors in all rentals and check them once a year.
Okay.
So
it's a landlord's responsibility.
And I would, if somebody out there is a landlord, I would recommend that they do that and they document it for their own sake and keep that on file year after year.
Just for purpose. Okay, well, that's a good point. I didn't know that.
Let's not forget about our free smoke detector program.
Yes, let's talk about that. We got about 2 minutes. We're going to take a break, and then we'll come back and talk about the second half of the show about some other things. Talk about that free.
Well, if you cannot afford a smoke detector, and you're right, they've gotten cheaper every year. But if you cannot afford one, or you know somebody can't afford one, call us down at the fire department, and we'll put you on a schedule. And the guys will come out. We've got a grant from the state of Arkansas. We'll come out and we'll put up a smoke detector in your sleeping area for you. That's how important they are.
That's a great, no reason for anybody to not have one.
No reason not to have one.
It's a great program. We give out several every year. Clint's got more of a better number on how many we actually give out, but we give out several of them. When they find out we have them, it's no time at all usually till we run out because everybody's calling.
Yeah, we've applied for the same grant 3 times in 1 year before.
Really?
And we get 100 each time. So
is that a state or federal grant?
That is a grant through the Arkansas Governor's Commission on Fire Prevention.
Okay.
And we apply for that grant. It is a state grant, yes.
Okay. So
we've been very lucky to get that.
Yeah, you've really pushed that. I mean, I don't know if all fire departments do as good a job as Harrison Fire Department, but I know I've known you guys for years, ever since I've been in the TV business here, and we've talked about it so many times, been down there, and so if you happen to be out there and you know of somebody, maybe an elderly person or someone that maybe is in hard times and you don't think they've got a smoke detector, maybe find out for them and call the Harrison Fire Department, and they've got detectors there, and they'll come right out and put them out. So there's no excuse not to have them.
Even if you live in the county, we'll get one to you.
Get one to you either way. Well, that's good to know. Let's see here. I tell you what, let's do. Before we get into the second half, let's take a quick break. And in fact, we've got some promos that we've done for you. Jim has done those, and they're really cute. We're going to put them in our program today so that people can see what you guys do. We'll be back on Connection in just a moment.
We should always remember to have a working smoke detector where we sleep. Let's go. Okay, we're all safe. In an emergency, you need a meeting place outside the whole family can meet so that you know everyone is safe. When you practice your home fire drill, make sure you stay low under the smoke. make sure you practice home fire drills with your family.
Back on Connection here on TKO8 Television. I'm Dennis King. Thanks for joining us today. We're doing a special program today with the Harrison Fire Department, and we have Daryl Pace and Clint Nichols in the studio with us. And for the second half, we're going to get in a little bit more in depth of things that you can do out there. And as they mentioned when we started off the show, people start fires. So that's us. We need to do a better job. Guys, again, thanks for coming in the studio today, taking time out of your business.
Thanks for having us.
They have to turn their radios and stuff off just for a few moments here, but they probably got them on vibrate. And so if they had to leave real quick, well, you understand, but we appreciate you coming in. Okay, escape plan. Let's talk a little bit about, I know you even have the firehouse that you take to the schools and the different things going on different. How important is an escape plan?
Well, if you're going to survive a structure fire, a house fire nowadays, as fast as fire moves, your best chance is self-rescue. So that's something we need to train ourselves to do, especially our children. As our children each year they get older, they'll have more responsibility. They can get out their windows or stuff. We don't encourage you, don't go home and tell your kids to jump out the windows. That's not what we're saying. But show them that second exit. If you live up on a second story, you go to the hardware stores and get that chain ladder. Spend that a little bit of extra money, because Daryl and I, we've been around for more than 20 years, and unfortunately we've been to fire deaths right here in our community. So prepare. Teach those kids how to get out, have good smoke detectors, put them in their rooms, make sure they can hear them, have a fire drill at night, know how to get out 2 ways out of your bedroom, okay, and have a meeting place, big tree, mailbox, whatever, out front, wherever the fire truck's going to show up, so we can get with you immediately to make sure that everyone's out of that house, because that's going to determine how we fight fire. If we get there and there's someone trapped, obviously our guys are making a beeline in to do a search. But fortunately, most people are standing outside the house fire when we get there, and that's where they need to be.
Boy, that's great. You know, a lot of people maybe don't think about a two-story house and a lot of two-story homes having some type of an escape mechanism, and I hadn't thought about the chain ladders. That's something that I'm sure you can go to a hardware store, Walmart, or wherever,
several places in town,
and get those and have those in a two-story house. Have one available so that you can get them, because I mean, sometimes it's a long ways down, and you don't want to have to jump out, obviously, unless you just have to.
Chain ladders, fire extinguishers, smoke detectors, cheapest insurance you'll ever buy in your life.
Yeah, so it really is. Let's very quickly. I know do you see a lot of kitchen fires? Is there, a lot of people have grease fires and stuff, and if so, is that a little different? As far as trying to put them out, you don't want to throw water on them, do you?
No, you're absolutely right. We encourage people when they're frying, and we live in the country, so we like that fried food. You know that
we do. Biscuits and gravy and
all of it. Make sure they keep a well-fitting lid next to where they're frying, and slide that lid over, and then turn the burner off is the very best way. Keep a fire extinguisher handy in case the curtains catch fire or something, so you can put that fire out. But you got to be very careful with grease fires. What we've seen in the past, if people try to pick this fire up and carry it to the outside and they're dripping fire, or they burn themselves, or they catch something else on fire. Right. A grease fire is a very serious thing. We see several oven fires every year too. We encourage people to shut the oven off, leave it contained, and give us a call. We'll come check things out.
So really, if you don't open the door of an oven, I mean, ovens are made for extreme heat. Yes. So if you keep that, don't let the oxygen hit to it. Same, I guess the grease fire, same thing. You're cutting off the oxygen supply,
absolutely,
which will put it out.
The oven, if you, like he said, if you take and shut it off, keep it closed. Most of the time when we get there, it's either out, or we can take and open it up and put it out real quick, Okay. But you just, like he said, just make sure you close that oven door back up as you're going out,
I've heard of so many people that, it's very easy to have a grease fire. If you cook much, as Clint was talking about out there, I'm sure, I've had a grease fire, not extensive, but I've had grease catch on fire. You're trying to get the heat up there and it'll catch on fire. And it's the reaction is to take that and grab that and try to get it outside.
You got fire in your house, you want to get it out.
Yeah, you want to get it outside. And I've heard of so many people that have had severe burns, on their arms and legs, and catch their clothes on fire and so forth when they're trying to move that
very
skillet
dangerous situation.
and it is a tough situation. So,
and we have a lot of the elderly people that, you know, sometimes they go in there and they start cooking, you know,
yes,
and they kind of forget what they're doing, you know, and they'll go to another part of the room, they'll forget about it, or they'll leave and they'll go to town or something. You know, we have them instances too, you know, to where that's the problem, you know. We like, you know, to have them to be try to be a little bit more aware, you know, at that, you know, because it don't take, like you said, you know, fire will double every minute, you know, so it don't take no time at all if you have something, you know, to really get out of control. You know.
Let's talk, guys, a little bit about we're going into the fall season here, and the fall and winter, and you know, you got Halloween, you got the Christmas season. During the holidays, people get to thinking about a lot of other different things, Thanksgiving or whatever, and there's certain things, particularly during the holidays. Let's talk about Christmas. I hate to say Christmas already, it's not quite there, but electrical, you know, like people put a lot of different cords trying to hook up as many lights as they can. Do you run into situations where people just overload the electrical system? I mean, I know there's new codes these days, but there's a lot of old homes out there. Some of them don't even have the, you know, they don't have the 3-prong. They just got the 2-prong, so they don't even really have a up-to-date electrical system. Is that a problem?
Well, you always have to be careful with the electrical. You got to remember, an extension cord or those lights are is an unprotected cord.
Yes.
When you run an electric cord in your wall, it is somewhat protected, or if people run it in conduit, it is somewhat protected. But we've all got extension cords with the black tape around it because it's bent and frayed, and you've got to be careful of all that kind of stuff. So we suggest on your lighting, go through it, make sure all your lighting is intact, there's no open wires, and you're right, use common sense, don't overload that. And the Christmas, you talk about Christmas, the Christmas trees, we're gonna talk, we really want to talk about those live Christmas
trees. Go ahead,
trees.
just talk about it.
You've got to keep them watered, keep them away from heat, because if they do catch fire, that's a lot of product that can burn inside your house. So if you're going to use them, maintain them. I mean, I grew up with live Christmas trees. So make sure they've got the pan in it and they're full of water. And those lights you're putting on them, make sure they're all high quality and no frayed wires.
Yeah.
So.
You know, I'm sorry, Derek, go ahead.
If they're very old, you know, it's a good idea to replace them because they start getting brittle and stuff. You know, the older they get,
yes,
these newer LED lights is the way to go anymore because they don't take near as much energy. You know, I suggest if you want to go out and buy some new lights and stuff, get them LED lights, put them on there because they're not near as much of a heat source and stuff as the old ones was too.
You know, used to when they came out with the Christmas lights years ago, I used to be a buyer and travel overseas and stuff. But before UL got involved, you could get Christmas lights that were not even Underwriters Laboratory listed on them. You know, so they were not UL. And they were really cheaply made. You know, now that the government's got involved and you can't buy anything except UL in the United States anymore. But still, some of the lighting, particularly Christmas trees, most of the I'll call them fake Christmas trees that you buy they're flame retardant, most of them anymore. Is that correct?
We encourage people when they buy stuff to look for that UL
because
actually there is still products out there that are independently researched, and you got to make sure. But that UL for sure. When you see that, you kind of know what you're getting.
It's a little different deal.
People have asked me that about smoke detectors and everything. I always tell them flip that over and look for the UL. If not, call that number if you're buying it and see what you're buying.
Because those have been tested. That's what the UL means is Underwriters Laboratories have tested those products, whatever they may be. Actually,
we have a local UL representative that sometimes with fire code products I call.
Really?
And UL is still very involved, even in everywhere in the United States, but even in our community.
Very good. So Christmas trees, obviously you don't want to put a live Christmas tree next to an open flame fireplace. You run into a lot of people who have problems when they're setting these little heaters around, you know. And you can put them next to a drape or curtain, can have big problems there.
Absolutely. My mother, she's got one of those little heaters, and she, your feet gets cold and you sit out there. Be very careful with them. What happens, they'll get up and they'll trip on them, they'll set them back next to the drapes or back to a piece of furniture, and anything that emits heat can start fire. So absolutely, you got to be very careful with those little heaters.
And the little heaters, that goes back to the extension cord. You don't want to run your electric heaters with an extension cord. Okay. That puts too much load on that extension cord, and it starts getting heat. Getting hot, and a lot of people like to take and hide their extension cords under rugs and around furniture and stuff. So if you got a little space heater and you got an extension cord to that, that's a good possible for a fire out there too, is because the extension cord is getting overloaded.
Right. Okay, I'm going to go away from the fire just a little bit. Let's talk about what you do as far as your emergency vehicle. I mean, a lot of people don't realize the support that you give and the importance that you are. Let's say if there's an automobile accident and someone's trapped in a car. Let's talk a little bit of what your people do.
Well, yeah, so much of what our guys do is not fighting fire. That's actually small. We're always going to be firemen, and we love to fight fire. That's kind of why we got into business. But absolutely, we have a rescue truck down there, I think, second to none in our area. We're very fortunate. We got guys that know how to use it. Yes. Anytime that the ambulance goes out on a wrecked vehicle, we're going to try to cut that car away from that victim, help assist EMS, put them on a backboard, and get them to the hospital. They can get X-rayed to make sure they don't have some serious spinal cord trouble. We're running on a lot more medical now. I know we were talking earlier in July. We had 100 runs just in the month of July, and a big portion of them were medical runs. We've got young firemen going to become EMTs. We've got some on the list that want to go become EMTs. As of right now, they're flipping the bill out of their own pockets for that. Sometimes the colleges helped us out immensely, helped them get grants and stuff to pay for that. But they're doing that because they're not making any extra money for it. They're doing that because there is a need for that in our community.
Wow.
EMS has been great to work with. They're just like family over there. We work hand in hand with them. Of course, as you know, they're running all over the place.
Yes.
So we run lots of times with them. We'll get there ahead of them and try to get some basic vital signs, assist people. We carry the AEDs now for people who are having heart attacks. Of course, we have medical bags that EMS has helped us design and put together. A big part of that's really the future of the fire service. We have guys that are taking specialized training in confined space, rope rescue. Daryl himself's on the water rescue team, been on it for years. That team has grown. So there are many, many facets to being a fireman. It's actually even more exciting now than back 20-some years ago when we started.
And that all goes back to fire prevention.
Right.
Fire prevention has taken work so well that there's a lot less fires now, and now we're
now you're doing a lot more of the others.
We're starting to do a lot more of the other specialized deals, like you said. Water rescues, rope rescues, and stuff. Auto extrication. So, you kind of got to. We kind of got to shift on our training and stuff from what we used to do.
We've got about a minute left, guys. We went through a lot of stuff. You need people. Let's quickly talk about
We need good quality people. If you're interested in being a fireman, we have a program. Right now it's volunteer. I think they're talking about making it what they call part paid, where you get a little bit of gas money to come in, but you can come down. We'll train you. You can see how you like being a fireman. Come to City Hall. Come to our HR department. Get an application. Turn it in. And at that point, Daryl will give you a call, and the process will start. But if you're interested at all, come see us. Come down and visit us. See if you like
come down. I'm sure you give them a tour if somebody thinks they might be interested, and tell them a little bit about what goes on there.
Absolutely. We need good quality people.
Obviously, you do.
There's a lot of them in our community. We just need to get them down there.
A lot of good quality people, as like us. As you get older, you're going to be retiring someday. There's got to be somebody to step in there, and you need to.
We want some young ones to do that work, don't we?
We're getting too old for that stuff.
So. Guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. We wanted to spend the entire Connection show today talking about fire prevention and what you do as a firefighter. You do so much more. You go out there and you collect money for the kids, and you do everything. And we appreciate your loyalty to the community and everybody out there. They don't say thank you enough, I'm sure, but we appreciate you coming in. Well, Daryl Pace, of course, Clint Nichols with the Harrison Fire Department. We appreciate them coming in today and talk about fire prevention. If you ever have any questions, they're good people. Give them a call. If you need a smoke detector, make sure you give them a call as well. They have them down there. Thanks for being on Connection with us today. We'll see you again next time.
When you practice your home fire drill, make sure you stay low under the smoke. Make sure you practice home fire drills with your family.